I guess this is normal that we're going to get hit with these. So as opposed to sit there in the corner and moping about it, I have to learn how to pivot around because I had pivoted around something else earlier. And I said, okay, well, this is no different than that. I have to figure out a way to pivot around it. And that's not going to be the last thing that's going to hit me, right? Or any other business. So that's what I learned, how it kind of taught me to be a better entrepreneur, as opposed to just sit and say, oh, come on, I give up. This is too much happening. This is all these things. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm failing. Instead of saying that, just say, okay, this is going to happen again, but this is happening now. So how do I get around it? And that's really, I think, the key to driving, to keeping your business sustaining and successful.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. Chuck Anderson here, and I'm your host. And we have another amazing episode here for you and a special guest. And look, our audience is all entrepreneurs and business owners on a big mission, trying to do big things. And you're marketing yourself. You need to get the word out about what you're doing. And then when you get the word out about what you're doing, you want to build your list. You want to and make sure you can stay in contact with the people that are learning about you. And if that has been your challenge, if you do any speaking on podcasts or speaking on stages or just anywhere where you want to communicate to somebody how to get the information about your company, you want to really lean into what we're going to be talking about today, because this gentleman is an expert in that as well. So I'm honored to have Gabe O'Neill with me here today. Gabe, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks so much, Chuck, and I really appreciate you having me.
Yeah, and I'm excited to have you on because I think one of the things is what you do is so unique in the marketplace. It's not something you hear a lot about or see. It's not one of the typical things that you see in terms of marketing strategies or marketing tactics, but it's extremely powerful what you do. So now I'm not going to try to butcher your introduction. I'm going to let you tell your story. So let's start with let everyone know who you are and what you do, and we'll take off from there.
Okay. Well, I appreciate those kind words, and you actually worded it. I mean, I wish I could steal those words because I like how you described it. But anyway, my name is Gabe O'Neill, and I'm known as the godfather of the digital business card. That's how people know me. And when you say the word digital business card, people might already have in their mind something that they've seen. Oh, I've seen them. I know them. I know what they do. Well, it's kind of, there's really nobody gets really excited about them. However, that's the closest thing that I could have come to describe what we do and describe it at all. But so really what we do is create a custom digital business card that blows the roof off of anything else that you've seen. So yeah, I've been a software developer forever, and interestingly enough, it just kind of a couple of years ago, I came across an idea only to help other people. It was to get to know them better in a networking environment when we moved. So I decided to build them what I called a digital business card, a custom digital business card. So we started doing that and giving them away for free. That way they get to know my work ethic. They get to know, my creativity, my skills, and they get to see that I'm the type of person who follows through on what I say I'm going to do. That's really important to me. And unfortunately, it's not as important to a lot of other folks. But anyway, so that's what I did. I built these digital business cards, and people loved them. And I did that for about a year, and we were referring each other out with them. It became really, really easy to refer other people out. And so the people were actually getting business from it. And then we started adding more and more features to it. And then that's our core value. Is our core being is to get people business from these, not just create something that, what I call a blue spinning thing. If you see something that's really cool, it's blue and it's spinning, but what does it do? Nothing. No, that's not what we do. We create stuff that really works. So that's kind of is I guess the cliff notes on what I've been working on the last couple of years.
So, I mean, this whole concept of the digital business card, and I think about all the times I've been on stage, all the times I've been on podcasts, all the time spent on virtual networking events, etc. And I could go on and on. There's lots of places where, as business owners, we share what we do, and sometimes we only have a brief time to do it. But we grab people's attention, and people want to know more. And what I love about what you do is it's so easy to communicate. I mean, it's a phone number, right?
Right. Absolutely.
It's a phone number and a code word. So maybe let everyone know a little bit more about how that works.
Yeah, that really was again, the design of that is really what helps you get the business. So my keyword is Gabe to 321-421-5213. So if I can get people out there to remember that, then they have an endless supply of my digital card that they can give out at any time. And when you talk about speakers and podcasters, I had one of my clients, it represents an author, Mark Victor Hansen, who's Chicken Soup for the Soul kind of guy. Yeah. And he has one of our cards. And so my buddy texted me afterwards, and he said he just got 437 leads in one afternoon. And when I say leads, that means cell phone numbers with names that have gone through the system. Because when people text our keyword, we capture that cell phone number and we put it in a back end where you can manage that. He said, I'll turn this into well over 6 figures in 6 months. And that was just in one afternoon. So the ROI on what we have is crazy. And again, you're right. There really isn't anything out there that does all the different things that we do. We've decided, as opposed to create a digital card for the masses where you just go to a vending machine and put in your information and spit something out. Ours are all custom done, and we have a lot of different features, different options that you can add to it. Again, but they're all designed to boost your business.
What I love about this is that you're actually capturing people's information using their mobile phone versus their email. And as a longtime email marketer, 20 plus years, managed millions and millions and millions of subscribers in our various lists. Mm-hmm. Still something we do today. We do a tremendous amount of email marketing, but any time that we've been involved with SMS messaging or text messaging, the response rates are so much higher. And of course, the messaging is all different and all of that. But if you really want to reach people, it seems like SMS messaging is the way to go.
Well, the bottom line is they'll read it. I mean, you can be in a meeting and your phone is shut off. You're certainly not going to pick up your phone. But if you see that text thing going, you're going to sneak a look at it. So that's what's so funny about it. But you're right. I'm not telling people to throw away all the other stuff that they have, because I do email marketing too. But I will tell you this: nothing has got me business like my card has. Nothing. Period. And it's just only because, again, what you say is that people are much more responsive to text. The cool thing is you can have a discussion with somebody when they meet you and they download your card and they think, oh, this is amazing. This is really cool. I want to talk to this guy. Yet they got that squirrel which is their life. That happens, right? As soon as they go home, oh, wait a minute, the dog needs to go to the vet. Oh, the kid needs braces. We got all this different stuff that we have to deal with. But I can text that person back on a couple of days from now, on a Monday or Tuesday. Oh, yeah. I remember. I did want to talk to you. And I just give them the link to my calendar. They're on my calendar. And, so that's really what's so powerful about it.
Yeah, it's amazing. And, there's still a time and place for email. So is it possible to use the phone number and the keyword to capture someone's new information and to generate that lead, but to also follow up and get their email address? And so is that something you do manually? Is that something you do automatically? How does that work? So you can still build your email list at the same time. Okay.
So again, the cool thing about this is that I'm a software developer, so I can, and they're all custom done. So I can do whatever anybody wants. Mm-hmm. One of my clients wanted a 12 question survey done right from the card. And based on that, it would send them to different places or whatever. So yeah, I can do all that. But at minimum, like if you go to my card again, it's Gabe at Gabe to 321-421-5213. If you go to my card, you'll see at the bottom there's a white paper that you can download. That and to download it, you need to give your email address. So all cards have the option of doing that. But at the same time, if you need a custom form filled out, that's right on the card. We can do that. If you have if you have a drip on your website where you're capturing the information on your website, you can put a button to that link on your card as well. So it just makes it whatever's easiest for you. That's how we do it.
Yeah, I think it's a great solution. And, look, email can sometimes be difficult to communicate, especially on stage. Website addresses as well, from stage, from podcast, whatever. But a phone number and a simple, text this word to this number. I love the simplicity of that. Where did you come up with the idea for it? What's the origin of this?
Well, again, it was just. We moved. I live in Atlanta. We moved here from Maryland, and when we moved down here, it took me a year to get to know people. This was all pre-pandemic, just in-person meetings, just going to as many as I could. So it took me a year before I felt like, okay, I'm established. Everybody knows me, and all this other stuff. But, and then we moved again. We moved like an hour away, so it means I lost all those people that I had. I couldn't go to those meetings anymore. And I thought, oh man, I don't really want to take that long. It's what can I do to expedite this process? And the idea was to build something, asking them nothing in return, spend a few hours on something for them, give them something of quality, and then just here's my gift. And in the meantime, they get to know me again. They get to know my skills, my creativity, etc. And so that's how it started. I stood up in the meeting, said, anybody want a free digital business card? And they, instead of that awkward part at the end where everybody's talking to everybody because they know each other and you're kind of standing there trying to latch on to a conversation, they're all lined up to get one. So it really, really worked. And after about a year of that, I figured, well, this is really doing something. So let me see if I can turn this into a business. And that was about September of 2019 when I really started marketing them.
Wow, that's great. I mean, I love how different businesses start. I mean, there's always, that idea stage that, it becomes your baby and you turn it into something that's real. And so how long have you been doing this?
Well, again, it's we started giving them out around October, November 2018. We started selling them and we sold a few along the way, but I really converted my business over to focus strictly on these on September 2019. And then, we had some good months, and then the holidays come and, see me after the holidays. Then January, February, great. And then all of a sudden March, and one afternoon they said, you can't go anywhere. So the pandemic hit. And that's how I was marketing my product, was by going around and showing people. And I couldn't do that anymore. So thankfully I came across a quote that really stuck with me. It was, you can't control the direction of the wind, but you can adjust your sails. And that was so powerful to me at the time. I said, that's what I'm going to do. So I discovered online virtual events, and they weren't as prolific as they are now. But then I just went after them. And it wasn't too much longer after that where people started seeing the value and purchasing them. I mean, it was, and that's what I think is so cool, where somebody will be in a meeting in Arizona and they'll be telling people about these cards, and, oh yeah, I was in a meeting in Gilbert, Arizona, and I heard about you. So I mean, that's just really cool for me, and it's fun. And again, my motivation is, number one, I've always wanted to give value, or to be of value to other people, and whatever work that I do get used for positive results. And this is one thing that's really doing that in spades, I think.
Yeah, well, and I love what you described there. I mean, the ups and downs of that entrepreneurial journey, I think, is something I know very, very well. I've we've definitely gone through that with various projects. I love the quote that you share. I mean, you can't control the direction of the wind, but you can control the direction of your sail. And that's so true. And, it's interesting because sometimes we're told as business owners to pick a direction and stay focused in that direction. And to a large degree, that's true. But I say stay focused, but still be mindful of what is happening, what is coming into your world, what is coming into your space. I always, my business coaching clients, I always ask them, like, what are you noticing coming into your world? What's happening around you that maybe it's aligned or maybe slightly misaligned from what you're doing? And is there an opportunity to take advantage of that? And sometimes it's just that one small shift into the wind. And suddenly that's the difference between feast and famine, right?
Right. Well, and that's really what I learned. Prior to this, I had not started other businesses. I was a software developer forever, worked for a number of different companies. But what this has taught me is that, in the first few times when things would go south for me, I'd say, "Oh, come on! I've been working really hard. Why is this happening to me?" And all these other typical things that people would say. And then when the pandemic hit, I kind of realized, I said, okay, here comes another one. I just finished with one. Here comes another one. But I guess this is kind of normal. I guess this is normal that we're going to get hit with these. So as opposed to sit there in the corner and moping about it, I have to learn how to pivot around because I had pivoted around something else earlier. And I said, okay, well, this is no different than that. I have to figure out a way to pivot around it. And that's not going to be the last thing that's going to hit me, right? Or any other business. So that's what I learned, how it kind of taught me to be a better entrepreneur, as opposed to just sit and say, "Oh, come on, I give up. This is too much happening. This is all these things. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm failing." Instead of saying that, just say, "Okay, this is going to happen again, but this is happening now. So how do I get around it?" And that's really, I think, the key to driving, to keeping your business sustaining and successful, I think.
Yeah, and I love that because you're really causing yourself to be aware of the situation and, stay focused but not to the degree where we have tunnel vision and we're ignoring the world around us. Because, the fastest way to go out of business is to be well prepared for a world that no longer exists.
Exactly.
And so I really like that. And that's something that we've had to pivot, multiple times in our business as well. And we still do. We learn every day from the things we put out there and the things we get back in return. And, are we connecting the dots in the right way? And, one of the ways that we have learned to accelerate how we connect those dots and how we pivot and how we grow faster, take advantage of opportunities is partnering and collaborating with others. And so, as many know, that's the theme of our show. And so I want to ask you, Gabe, how has collaboration and partnership played a role in your business journey?
Well, I haven't done a whole lot of it, but one thing it's funny that you say that, because I have a meeting on Wednesday about with a digital marketing agency. Well, actually, they're not a digital marketing agency. He's got this entrepreneurial mind, what's mastermind. He's got this mastermind group. There's actually about 1,000 members of it, and his interest in partnering with me is to be able to offer our card to his members at a certain discount or whatever that is. But that's I've looked at those in the past, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this would work. I think that would be a great opportunity for both of us. But I think the one thing that I've discovered that has benefited me the most in partnering is that we get our digital card owners to partner with each other. We host different networking events, and actually now, as a matter of fact, we're launching two more new events. One starting next week, which is a B2B networking event. And then the following of that is going to be a webinar where 5 of our card owners can speak. But the bottom line is every week for about a year, we've had what we call the Power Hour, where we discuss business opportunities, solutions, marketing tools like LinkedIn. What's your experience been with LinkedIn? And we'll get one person be the speaker, and they'll come in and they'll speak on that subject. But instead of, normally what happens when you get a speaker, it's, everybody turns their camera off and who knows who's paying attention. They speak about what they're going to do, and then they ask a couple questions and they go on to a different subject. But what we do is differently is we have them speak for that 10 minutes, but then after that, open it up to the floor and see what other people's experience has been with that same thing. Because we know that the speaker's not the only smart person in the room. There's a lot of smart people in the room. So and I have learned so much from those folks. It has caused me to do the packages that I have. It is, there's a lot of different things, that it's affected my pricing, all this different stuff that I continuously learn from them. But I agree with you. Partnering, I've always been interested in partnering with companies and people, and for the benefit of everybody. That's really kind of what I'm focusing on now. Let me do something that benefits me and everybody else. I mean, if we can do that, if it just benefits everybody else, I won't last very long. I'll go in the tank. But if it just benefits me, then that's not even fun for me. If I actually turned down some opportunities where I would just get this money, and I just, it's just money. It would just come in, but I had nothing to share with anybody. But if I can do something that benefits me and everybody else is participating, how fun is that? So that's really what I'm being focused on now in the upcoming months and years.
Yeah, I think that's another thing that I really, really love. And it's something that, it's the kind of people that I tend to surround myself with are ones that, yes, we're in a business, we're trying to grow that business, and we want to benefit that business, which in turn benefits ourselves. But how do we do that in a way that benefits everyone? How does it benefit our partners? How does it better our customers? How does it benefit the community? How does it benefit the world? Right. And so,
Absolutely.
I love that attitude. And I think, I mean, the world would definitely be a better place if more people thought that way. But it's one of the attributes I look for in a partnership or a collaboration. And I like the idea that you shared where you're talking to somebody who wants to share what you're doing with their customers. And that is a great type of collaboration where, it's a great referral source for you. It's value added for them. It benefits his customers. Everybody involved wins. And so that sounds like a good one. Now, we talk a lot about partnership and collaboration on the show, and and everyone knows that I'm, very pro partnership and collaboration. And the next question is, well, where do I look to find collaboration? So how did you find this potential partnership? How did it come to be? Or where would you normally go looking if you were looking for someone?
Okay, it's actually a really pertinent question based on what I've been working on recently, and I love that question. So I've been trying my darndest to get anything out of LinkedIn, and I have failed. Every time I do it, nothing works. And but I'm very coachable. I mean, I'll always ask somebody, okay, if this doesn't work, then why, and I've learned, okay, this thing doesn't work, well, that thing doesn't work, this thing over here doesn't work, but I'm starting to learn stuff that's working. And this has been fairly recently. So just last week, I've been reaching out to people in LinkedIn in a different way, much, again, and I'll just be honest. What I used to do is I used to say, okay, LinkedIn, let's start the sale. Here we go. I'm going to talk to you now. And that just doesn't work. I mean, it took me a while to figure that out, but it doesn't work. But it's because that's what everybody else is doing. So I figured it must work, right? If everybody else is doing it, but no, it doesn't work. So instead of doing it that way, it's trying to figure out innovative ways to know that they know that I'm here to start a relationship as it starts to sale. So I've been reaching out to people, and one of the people reached back out to me, and turns out that we have met on a different networking event. And so there was already that somewhat connection. And he was actually honestly trying to sell me his mastermind, being part of his mastermind, which is fine. I mean, I would listen to that because I think masterminds are very effective. But once we talked, he knew that I had digital cards, but he didn't know the extent of what they did and how cool they are and all that. So once he saw that, he said, okay, that now I get this. So I want to do this, and I still might join his mastermind again. I have a conflict on the time, but so that's how it came about. It came about in working on LinkedIn, and I'm really that's what I'm working on now, is spending more time on LinkedIn and trying to elicit conversations from people, not just saying, hey, I've got this great digital card and you need to buy it.
Well, I think that is the key to LinkedIn. I mean, where I get most of my connections from LinkedIn is through inviting people to be a guest on my podcast and asking something that doesn't involve money, has the potential to benefit them. And people are very quick to respond to things like that. And so I agree with what you're saying. It's really more about using LinkedIn to get a conversation versus to try to make a sale, right? Start the conversation, make the sale later, but don't get in a rush. Like, we don't have to try to sell our products from LinkedIn Messenger, right? And so,
yeah, I get it. It's tough because our job is to be out there prospecting and selling, right? That's part of it. Again, as we're entrepreneurs, we're thrown into many different roles that we've never really had before. And as the sales manager, I'd say, well, you have to sell, so you have to go out there and get on LinkedIn and go do it. And so it's hard not to be that way, but I'm really kind of training myself on saying, okay, you're not, no matter how hard you beat that horse, you're not going to get anything from it that way. So you have to approach it a different way and cultivate those relationships. And guess what? And sometimes it might be just, okay, well, and this has happened to me where I meet this person and I know a really good connection for that person, and I connect them together and they do business together, and nothing happens on my end, but that's fine. I'm happy to do that as well. So as long as something of value comes out of the whole thing, that makes me happy. So, it's just, I get that it's hard. Sometimes it's really hard to do that because, again, how many people, we all get those messages in our inbox just saying how they want to sell us this or that. But how many of those people have you responded to and said, okay, yeah, I want to buy it? No, nobody's on LinkedIn because they want to buy a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Yet people still try to do it because they don't know any better. And it's exactly like what you said earlier. If the wind is not blowing in your direction, change the direction of your sale. So how about, instead of spamming people on LinkedIn, we add value to them. We start conversations. We actually build real relationships, because that's ultimately, sure, you might get a customer, but you might get something better than a customer, and that is a partner who can send you multiple customers. And that is, that's one of the biggest reasons. And I think it's how we've learned to use LinkedIn as a connection tool. So I love that. And so, look, we've covered a lot of ground today, but a big part of being an entrepreneur on this journey is our own personal growth, our own personal development. And, I've been honored and blessed to have a lot of really great mentors and great teachers, along the way. And I always, while I have you here, I always want to ask my guests, who's been the most influential for you that maybe others could learn from?
Well, I mean, there's directly and then there's indirectly. I think a real powerful thing that I had happen to me earlier, and the person didn't know that they were influencing me that way, and that was Richard Branson.
Mhm.
And so if you study what he does philanthropically, it's just fantastic. I mean, I talk about wanting to fill the world full of people like that. He's so focused on so many different things, but as far as business is concerned, I do have somebody who's mentoring me now. His name's Joe Beck.
Mhm.
Very, I am a huge fan of him, of his, and I can't wait to share the results after, the 6 months that we talk about in the training. Eric Lofholm is another. He's a kind of a sales trainer. He teaches you thing, but a lot of it's mindset. A lot of it really is mindset, and that's really what I've been working on recently myself as well.
Well, and I think that that's something that all of us as business owners have to work on is our own mindset. And sometimes we get in our own way, and our business only grows to the extent that we do. And so I love that, you've got great recommendations for mentors and places to learn from. And I'm always looking for places to learn from because I know, like, that I don't know everything. I know what I know, and it's based on my own limited experience. There's an infinite world, an infinite universe out there. So let's go and learn
Absolutely.
the best from everybody. So
Hmm.
I love that. Now, a big part of learning is books, and I read a lot of books, or more recently listen to audiobooks because I find it faster and easier to do, but books nonetheless, because some great content and great nuggets of wisdom are embedded right in those books. So Gabe, what would be your must read book that you would recommend that all business owners read?
Well, one thing I used to rely a lot on was the Success Principles by Jack Canfield.
Mm.
It just has a lot of basic stuff, but if you just keep repeating those things to yourself, again, it's a lot of it's mindset. This is what I'm reading right now, Think and Grow Rich, with Napoleon Hill, and I've got another one, The Rich Man, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So, again, I've been doing a lot of focusing on my mindset, and recently because I think that really can make or break your success. I think, is if you think that well, I've been beating my head against this, it's never going to work, then you're right, it's not going to work. If you believe that something's going to happen, that can really make a huge difference. So that's really what I've been you know I'm trying to cover all my bases to learn as much as I can, because I'm extremely motivated and again, it's not about Think and Grow Rich. It's not, for me, it's not about money. They talk about money in it, but for me it's more just opening up my mindset to believe that, to know that I can do something, and that to know that something's going to happen, and so that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Awesome. Well, I think those are really good recommendations. I've read both of those books
Hmm.
multiple times. So, and always on my bookshelf, both of those books, Success Principles by Jack Canfield, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. No, Think and Grow Rich was probably the first nonfiction book that I ever read cover to cover. I would start a lot of books and never finish them. It was the only one, or I would say the first one that I read cover to cover and have also read multiple times. So, and I know we've had other guests say the same thing, where that's been such a big part of their journey. So, great recommendation there. So Gabe, thank you so much for being on our guest on the show. We've covered a lot of ground, and thank you for sharing everything that you do with the digital business cards. And I just think for anyone who speaks on stages or podcasts or attends networking events, and you want a really simple way to share your information with someone else and to capture a lead, your system just makes so much sense. And so if any one of our listeners listening in today wants to reach out to you and find, I know what the answer is going to be, but you go ahead and say it. How do they reach you?
Well, I'm gonna throw a little spice into it as well. If there's some people that see us on video, they can go ahead and just scan that QR code, and what that will do, it'll generate the text necessary on their phone for them to get my card, and I will capture their cell phone number, and I will follow up with them. But if you're not on video, you can text the word Gabe, GABE, to the number 321-421-5213, and my card will land safely on your phone. And then I will be in touch about it 24 hours later. Don't worry, we don't spam you. We don't do any, and you can always opt out of our text messaging at any time. But we're here to provide value, not necessarily to sell anybody. So that's kind of where we're at.
Gabe, thank you so much for sharing that. And I hope people have taken advantage. You're the first guest to ever put up a QR code. And I love that. Mm-hmm. And we can actually take that QR code and we can actually post it right into the show notes. Even though it's audio, check the show notes because it's going to be there. And we'll put all the links to everything Gabe and I talked about here today right there as well. So if you're not watching on video and you're listening on audio, well, you still have access to that as well. So, Gabe, thank you so much for being my guest. And I do highly encourage people to reach out to you. If you were going to leave our audience with just one final piece of advice or words of wisdom, what would you say to them?
Well, again, I think it's just a matter of just sticking to it. And again, one thing that I've always said is just do what you're going to do. It's part of your reputation, but just keep at it. It goes through that whole thing of being willing to push through hard times, right? You just have to keep pushing. And yes, you don't push blindly. You have to pivot sometimes, but just ready yourself that it's going to happen, and know that you give yourself enough confidence to know that you're going to solve the problem to get you through to the next step. So that's kind of not an easy, not a little tidbit nugget you're looking for, but kind of a roundabout way of getting to what I was trying to say.
Oh, it's all good. And I think that's great advice. Thank you, Gabe, for being my guest and for sharing your ideas and your technology and your journey with us. And to my audience, don't let this be for nothing. If anything you heard here resonates here today, and Gabe's thing could be the thing you were looking for, right? To really help you to generate leads. And it's something as business owners, we're always looking to do. Do reach out to him. You've got the QR code. You've got his phone number there. Text Gabe to the number there on the screen. It's also in the show notes. And make sure you tune in for the next episode. And in the meantime, never, ever give up on your dream, your business, your goals, and keep moving forward. There's lots of resources, lots of help available. We're bringing those to you, and we will see you here for the next one.
Great. Thanks, Chuck.